Well, it finally happened. President Trump has won re-election and he'll have a completely Republican-controlled Congress for the first 2 years. Does this mean lights out for solar? In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the likely policy changes that would affect the solar industry and how you can best position yourself. I'll also be sure to watch to the end because I have an exciting announcement about a new Solar Surge app that we're going to be launching very soon.
The smarter way to go solar.
All right, now in today's video, we're talking about what will solar look like under a second Trump presidency? Now, again, there's three main policy levers when it comes to residential solar, so let's talk about them one at a time. Now, the first main policy lever is interest rates. And although the President of the United States or Congress don't necessarily directly control interest rates, they can have a significant amount of influence on the central banks and the other institutions that do directly control interest rates. And so President Trump has been very outspoken that he'd like to see interest rates come down, which should be a net positive for residential solar. Now, for those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, you know that most solar that's being installed today is not being purchased with a cash purchase. Most solar that's being installed on homes is being financed, either with a long-term loan or with a solar lease. And so in either case, if a solar system is being financed, if the rate of interest comes down, then that solar system becomes more affordable. You know, a lot of the way solar is being sold, especially with the door-to-door teams that are out there, is on a monthly bill swap. Essentially, the sales pitch is, hey, Mr. Homeowner, here's what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna give you a no money down solar loan, and your monthly payment for the solar loan is gonna be the same as, or maybe a little bit lower than what you were paying to the electric company. So when you hear these ads about free solar program or government is giving you, get free solar, it's not free. Basically, you're buying it with a loan. It's essentially it's a mortgage backed by the solar equipment. And because the loan is amortized over such a long period, the monthly payment gets low enough where it can reach parity or below parity with your electric bill. So for a lot of people, that just makes sense. If you have a good one-for-one net metering program from your power company and you can do no money down, low interest financing on your solar, the solar does essentially pay for itself on a monthly cash flow basis. But of course, the lower the interest rates, the lower the cost of borrowing, the more attractive that proposition is going to be. But a lot of that relies on net metering programs. Now, this is the second major policy lever when it comes to solar, and although it's not directly controlled by President or the Congress, it's influenced and incentivized by Congress and then will flow down to policy at your local utility level. But again, those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, you know that one-for-one net metering programs are going away. In fact, going all the way back to April of 2023, in California, when the so-called NEM 3.0, Net Metering 3.0 came into effect, it essentially did away with net metering, fair net metering, or one-for-one net metering in California. So whereas in the past, if you had extra solar power production during daylight hours, you could power the house with solar and you could send all your excess production back to the power company, essentially running your meter backwards, building up credit, so that during the evening hours, you can then pull back in the electricity you need to power your home using those credits that you built up during daylight hours. And that works great if you have a true one-for-one net metering credit. You send them a kilowatt hour, you get to pull one back. But under NEM 3.0, it's no longer a one-for-one trading. In fact, now in parts of California, you may have to send them 4, 5, or 6 kilowatt hours during daylight for every one that you get to pull back, which means that your return on investment, especially if you're just looking at a monthly one-for-one bill swap exchange, your return on investment is going to be significantly degraded with a loss of net metering. But that seems to be the trend. California is the trendsetter when it comes to net metering policy at the local level. So since they've done away with one-for-one net metering there, I would expect other utilities to follow suit. Now here where I live on the East Coast, we still have great one-for-one net metering programs. I do a lot of work, or have done a lot of work in markets like Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. All of these states still have one-for-one net metering programs, which is great if you're trying to go solar and have the solar system pay for itself. Now, personally, I understand with the justification of doing away with one-for-one net metering. The idea here is that, when a power company is buying power, they're buying it at a cheaper wholesale rate from power plants, power producers, and then they're marking it up and they're selling it to the end user, they're selling it to the end customer at a higher retail price. So just to use some round numbers, the power company might buy from a nuclear power plant at 5 cents per kilowatt hour and then they distribute it and they sell it to a retail customer for 15 cents per kilowatt hour. So they're getting a 300% markup. You can think of it like that. They're getting a 300% retail markup by selling you that power. So in theory, if that power company were offering a solar buyback program, maybe they would only give you a third of whatever the rate is. In other words, when you're exporting solar to them, maybe they pay you 5 cents, but when they sell electricity to you, they charge you 15 cents. That seems to me philosophically like a more of a free market arrangement than forcing the power company to buy back at the 1-for-1 rate. And I think that really is the overall trend we're going to see here, is that I don't expect Trump or Republicans to kill solar, but I think they want to see solar more stand on its own 2 feet, stand on its financial merits without a lot of artificial incentive from Congress.
Just a quick word from our sponsor, Generac.
If you're looking for an all-in-one solar and energy management system, then you need to take a look at the new Generac PowerCell 2.
PowerCell 2 gives you total control of your home's energy system, incorporating solar power, whole house backup, intelligent load control, and generator support seamlessly integrated on a single platform. PowerCell 2 uses an AC-coupled architecture to facilitate ease of installation for new systems and retrofitting battery storage to existing solar homes.
So if you'd like to learn more information, then go to the PowerCell website or click the link in the description below so you can get in touch with an installer right away.
Which brings me to the third major policy lever that could be affected, which is the solar investment tax credit. Now, right now in the US, we enjoy a 30% investment tax credit when it comes to solar, which means that if you qualify, up to 30% of your total solar system cost can be refunded to you in the form of a tax credit. Now, I should say I'm not a tax professional, I'm not giving you any tax advice, but in most cases, if you have federal taxable income, and you prepay your taxes, or you have like automatic payroll deduction, so you've prepaid your taxes in by the time that you file the following spring, then if you have enough federal income tax liability, you can receive a refund or a credit back up to 30% of the amount of your investment in solar. And that extra 30% is what really helps the math work out. Again, going back to a monthly bill swap, a lot of times when a solar salesperson gives you a quote or a proposal with an estimated monthly payment, that estimated monthly payment is assuming that you're going to be able to receive that 30% federal tax credit and apply it to your solar financing within a certain grace period. Usually it's 12 months to 18 months for you to apply for, receive, and apply the tax credit so you can lock in a lower monthly payment on your solar financing. But what we saw at the end of the first President Trump term was they did away with the solar tax credit. Now, they didn't do away with it overnight, but it was basically on a path where it was going to gradually reduce from 30% to 26% to 22%, and then eventually sort of fade away. Now, when Biden-Harris administration came in, one of the things they did in the first year was to reinstate the full 30% federal tax credit and to extend it for 10 years. Now, with Trump and a Republican Congress in office, if they choose to reduce or to eliminate that investment tax credit, that could have significant impact on the affordability of solar for you. Now, again, I'm not here to argue whether it's right or wrong, but I think what a Republican-controlled Congress would like to see is a solar industry that stands on its own 2 feet without a whole lot of artificial stimulus. And so by removing or by sunsetting the federal tax credit, it means that for some customers, solar could get 30% more expensive. By the way, if you're in the process of going solar or you're planning to go solar this year and you need to get that 30% federal tax credit, go ahead and leave a comment down below. We'd like to hear from you. Okay, so what can we do about it? What can you do about it as an individual homeowner that has solar or that's thinking about installing solar and batteries? Very simply, I think the solution is to act sooner than later. If the first Trump presidency was any indication of policy changes that are likely to happen in the future, the attack on or the reduction of the solar investment tax credit means that there's probably no better time to go solar than right now if you want to be able to claim that full 30%. By the way, I said I had a special announcement. We've been working on a new app here at Solar Surge. We're going to be launching it very soon within the next few weeks, where basically you can go online, you can design, build, and even purchase your solar power system 100% online without ever having to deal with a salesperson. Unless, of course, you want to. But for those of you, if you know what kind of solar panels you want, what kind of inverter, what kind of batteries you want, you can just go to the online configuration tool, pick out all your major system components, and there's an easy online checkout process. Of course, if you're in the process right now of getting quotes for solar and you need to get a price quote from a local contractor, or maybe you already have quotes from a local contractor, you need to get a comparison quote to make sure that you're getting the right equipment and the best deal. As always, you can feel free to reach out to us on the link below here, set up a call with a Solar Surge expert, or just use the free online quote tool to see how much solar and battery storage costs in your area. Well, that pretty much does it for today's video. Again, this has been a discussion of what will the solar industry look like under a second Trump presidency. Now, of course, if you're getting good value from the videos you watch on Solar Surge, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And also go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't done so already. That way, as we have new videos like this coming out, it'll come up and you can stay up to date with everything. Well, I thank you all for spending some more time on the Solar Surge channel. As always, I'm Joe Ordia here, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.